Well, what a breakneck session of Test cricket we are seeing. It's typical baseball cricket when you look at it. Sometimes it can be brainless, sometimes it can be spectacular.
Is it applied baseball or allowed baseball?
Allowed baseball, I would say, because you got the two major wickets that you wanted of Joe Root and Ben Stokes first thing in the morning. Okay, Siraj was on a hat trick at that point in time. But then from 84 for 5, you've now allowed 177 runs to be scored, 172 rather, 172 runs in 27 overs, which means you're going at a run rate, overall run rate is 5.3, but the session run rate, it's been absolutely phenomenal. Harry Brook's 91, but Jamie Smith, 102 of 82, 14 fours and 3 sixes, meaning 74 of his runs have come in boundaries only. Luckily, India are 587. If this was 487, I think they would have had panic stations. But this is where England's batting now, it starts actually. They bat better, the tail bats better than the Indian tail. You got Vokes, Cars can hang around, Tongue can hang around. So, if England can get to under 200, the lead, anyway India will have to bat. We didn't have any illusions that they will enforce the follow on. This session, I would say, for the first time in this test, England have dominated a session. 2 wickets down, but 172 runs scored. What do you make of the session, boys? Especially Jamie Smith, Harry Brook and the Indian bowling. These are the 3 things we'll focus upon. Firstly, Jamie Smith, what about his batting?
Very interestingly, yesterday I was just trying to go through Jamie Smith a little more. I was just trying to dig in a little more deeper into what exactly is the situation. He's just 25 years of age, hasn't played too much of cricket heading into the international setup of the England team. White ball he's been playing, but red ball also. As in, he's not played too much of domestic cricket in that sense. In that sense, I'd say he's been fast-tracked, and I clearly do understand why he has been fast-tracked into this England setup. And the very big reason for that is that there is something that the team management in Ben Stokes and in Brendan McCullum are definitely looking at Jamie Smith as a future prospect. Having him in the test team, you've seen they have gotten in, roped in a lot of white ball specialists in that sense into the red ball team because of the brand of cricket that they play and because of the conditions they have been dishing out for test match cricket. And that is where Jamie Smith plays a very, very important role as well in their red ball and in their cricket in general. And he's absolutely batted the way he is expected to bat, a strike rate of over 120. That just signifies that he isn't treating this as a test match in that sense. It's more about one-day form of cricket in test cricket also. That is what we have seen from India yesterday also, and today from the English side as well, because it's absolutely, the wicket is absolutely dead. The Indian fast bowlers definitely are getting that little bit of help from the wicket. It's seeming we've been seeing this since the since last night itself, when Akashdeep came in, the ball was nipping a little bit. That is where India is able to exploit those conditions, and with that little bit help itself, they have been able to get rid of this England top order. And this just also shows the level of England batters. As soon as the ball nips even a little bit, they start to tumble, and it sort of gets very, very tough for them. And not on each and every day are the conditions going to be so flat that the ball does not even do a little bit, which we have seen. They're not even able to tackle that much. So India has gotten this done, and with the brand of cricket that the England team plays, you do expect some sort of resistance by a couple of batters. You do expect a couple of partnerships getting built up, and that is why they have gotten these many runs in this session itself. I don't see this going way too long. I totally agree that if the Indian batters would have scored anything under the runs that they have already gotten, it could have started to get a little scary. But from here, Jamie Smith and Harry Brook, both of them will have to play an innings of a lifetime if they want to get the English team back into into this game. Even they've just gotten 191 each, 100, and they at least need to get double hundreds at least. One of them would definitely have to bat till that time, get a double ton, so that they can sort of get back into the game. But India, I think, already have gotten way too many runs on the board, and the ball, even if it does a little bit and the fast bowlers are able to extract something, I don't think that this resistance can go on and score 600 runs on the board.
Okay. I think to answer your question about Jamie Smith, I think for the first time in 11 years, we can say with some kind of surety that England have someone behind the stumps and batting at number 7 who is providing as much an assurance as a Matt Pryor offered. Because the last time, Matt Pryor was there at this position was in about 2014, 2015. Ever since then, it's been pretty much a musical chair for England. The wicketkeeper batter thing, sometimes it's Bairstow, it was Joss Butler for that matter, sometimes even it was Oli Pope.
It was Ben Foakes.
It was Ben Foakes for that matter, who was touted to be the next big thing, but he did not really get those required runs, as and when it was needed. But now with Jamie Smith, one thing is for sure, that he is batting with that kind of application that you saw in someone like a Matt Pryor, who wasn't really just to they have those kind of cameos. But in case of Jamie Smith, you are seeing that he's building those innings. He's even got 100 this time around. So definitely one for the future. Just 25 years old, as Shashwat also pointed. So a great future ahead for Jamie Smith. I think you talk about India, or maybe a couple of things that really stayed with me for the first session here. One is obviously the overusage of Prasidh Krishna. When you know that when he was being taken to the cleaners by Jamie Smith, still the fact you persisted with Prasidh Krishna. Now this is something that really surprises me. You could have probably gone with a Nitish Reddy, you could have tried AajTak or Siraj for an extended spell, and that's where it fails to surprise. It basically surprises me as to why Prasidh Krishna was given that extended go. Secondly, with Washington Sundar, I know it's just early signs and he still has a long way to go in this match, but he is not really inspiring any confidence as a bowler. That's when, we all discussed at that time when we had the preview of this match, myself, Nikhil and Harshit, we discussed our playing 11. All three of us had Kuldeep, in our respective playing 11s. But this time around, with India opting for Washington Sundar, that did not really come as a surprise, because we've seen with this team from the Border Gavaskar Trophy that you would want to persist with more all-rounders so that you can lengthen your batting. Sometimes you talk about taking 20 wickets and sometimes you say you want to lengthen your batting. This time around, I have to say this thing, that effectively India is playing with about 3 bowlers, and out of those 3, one has actually been hammered all around the park. 8 overs, none for 61. The economy is pretty much close to 8 here. That does not inspire any confidence for a test bowler. For all the good work that Prasidh Krishna had done in Leeds, it's all been negated here.
Good work in Leeds.
Second innings.
2 wickets, but then he leaked runs. I mean, see, today you gave a total of 9 overs to Siraj and Akashdeep total. They had 7 overs. If you look at it, Akashdeep in his next spell of 4 overs conceded 23 runs. Siraj in his spell of 5 overs conceded 28 runs, because he had 7 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 21. Yeah. Here he's taken 5 overs, 2 for 28. Okay. Prasidh, I don't know what was the length he was targeting. Was he targeting full? Was he targeted good length?
He was consistently trying to bang in shots. See, that's the same way he got rid of Jamie Smith in the first Test match. But the only problem there was some kind of pace attached to the bowling that he was doing to Jamie Smith in the first innings. Maybe it was something of the track also. This time around, maybe the ball has gotten a lot softer. There isn't there's hardly any pace on the track. Maybe that's why Jamie Smith is finding it pretty easy to hit those pull shots.
Exactly, and that's why you've given only 1 over of Nitish Reddy. Okay,
that too yesterday.
You haven't bowled him at all today. 10
you
overs.
You cannot afford to bowl him.
10 overs, none for 48. 5 overs, none for 27. 15 overs, 75. Exact 5 economy rate from the spinners. Now, India may still end up with a substantial lead. But can 2 bowlers alone take the 10 wickets? It's not happened every single time. It may happen this innings, it may not happen in the second innings.
And you won't win the game like that. You'll end up drawing, but that's not the right approach, because I still feel that maybe the thought process behind going with such a long batting was to get as many runs on the board, so that in such a situation also, despite not having the best bowling lineup, you feel in a space spot. Even right now, if Shubman Gill and the team comes and decides to be aggressive and have those aggressive field setups in the next upcoming session, they can afford to do that, because England are still more than 300 runs away with already 5 wickets down, so that you can afford. But that's not an attacking approach to approach the whole test match. In that sense, you can do it, but you'll just end up buying some time, and you won't be able to win the test match. So as if you would have had attacking bowlers, a Kuldeep Yadav or an Arshdeep Singh, maybe you could have gone for those wickets and tried to wrap up this innings as soon as possible. Now you definitely have the runs, but you don't have the time and you don't have the bowlers to do that in that much time. So you're just going towards a draw, and that is not the right approach to go after test cricket, because this time your batters have gone and scored these many runs. It's not going to happen each and every time. So in that sense, the theory that the Indian management and the team management would have used was to get as many runs that they have done. I just hope that this does not give a lot more sense of fake confidence in that sense to continue this approach in the upcoming test matches as well, because still it's a very, very long series ahead.
I mean, we'll focus more on the Indian bowling because it's already given you a glimpse that taking 10 more wickets in the second innings might prove to be a tall task. It could happen still. But Akashdeep and Mohammed Siraj alone have taken the wickets. Now we are cribbing in leads. Where is the support for Bumrah? Now where is the support for Akashdeep and Siraj? Where is the support for them? It's hardly there. And again, Siraj and Akashdeep, when you look at it, they leaked too many runs again. Siraj, credit to him, attacking, he got the wickets. That was there. One was a very good delivery that leapt up. Ben Stokes had to play at it. Root strangled down the leg side. Typical. I don't know what's gone wrong with Joe Root. I mean, he gets strangled down the leg side far more than any of those Fab Four that I've ever seen.
It actually reminds me of Kohli's early days. He used to get out in this kind of a fashion, but the only point there was that those were more of back of a length deliveries, or maybe those bumpers that he used to get. But with Root, it's more of full deliveries.
Is this now a glimpse that India, even if they get a substantial lead, give them a big target? It is giving you a glimpse that fourth innings, with the pitch not breaking up that much, even today it's still looking like a belter. There is a big struggle for them to take 10 wickets. Is it already indicated, or do you think no, it's just a one-off? England are going attacking because India has got attacking fields. Do you think now they'll not enforce the follow-on? Definitely they won't. Even if they score another 100 runs, they'll definitely not enforce the follow-on. But then do you think this attack has already given you an inkling that they cannot take 20 wickets? Or do you think we are jumping the gun?
No, they can take 20 wickets, but not in 5 days is what I mean. If you keep on bowling for days after days, someday or the other, you will end up taking 5 wickets. But it's about the time. I think yesterday you or Harshit sir, somebody mentioned about how quickly can you do that, because it's about that half an hour, 45 minutes, that in how much time can you get rid of them. Now one partnership, this will show a little more resistance, but how many runs will they get? They're just 1 wicket away from just falling apart. How many? 300 runs. The last 5 wickets, they'll have to really bat out of their skins if they want to get close to India's target. So today, in this test match, you'll feel safe. You'll end up drawing this test match in a way, but you'll not be able to win it and get 1-1.
I think for India, I kind of agree with the point that Siddharth has made, that you have given an indication that this bowling attack might not really be equipped enough to take 20 wickets. You are clearly lacking that support for Akashdeep and Mohammed Siraj. What really what I feel about this match is that India is still in the pole position. 177 is definitely way too many runs that England have scored in a session. But the point is that the wickets column still does indicate that if India take a couple of wickets pretty early on in the second session, then once again you're going to talk about India being in advantageous positions, and all the 177 runs that have been scored, 172 runs that have been scored in the first session, I think you won't talk much about it if India take a couple of wickets pretty early in the next session. But overall, I think these are flat and fast wickets, and that's where I feel that apart from the early nip that you can generate off the pitch or maybe due to some kind of a cloud cover, you have to try something different. You cannot really be persistent with some kind of a length. You need to try those cutters. Sometimes even a Yorker would work, and that's where I think the Indian bowling attack is lacking. I would go back to England's bowling here, the likes of Josh Tongue, Bryden Cass. They at least had those off cutters or those off cutters or maybe the slower deliveries. They at least tried them. But for India, I don't see that kind of variations being tried by any of these bowlers. So that's the thing. I think with Prasidh Krishna, he just needs to go back, have a chat with Moni Maukal or the coach and see what kind of lengths he wants to bowl. He literally struggled with it in the Leeds test also, something that he admitted to in one of the press conferences that he attended. And now the same has been the case. You don't really have to consistently pitch, on that back of a length region or the bumpers that you were bowling to Jamie Smith. Need some kind of variation, need some more attacking field sets. Even if India leak a few runs, that's absolutely fine. You still scored 587, England more than 330 odd runs behind. Still, I would say, it's India's game. But if England continue in similar fashion in the second session, then I think I'm afraid you would have lost all your advantage.
Yes, I think, the second session of day 3 is going to be very important.
Every session is important.
No. For the outcome, if you want to pinpoint which session you lost or won the test match, this session's coming up. You will point out to day 3, second session.
Let's say if England are 350 for 7, then what do you say?
350 for 7.
Almost out of the game then. Not out of the game, then they're winning chances. The fact that they're winning is ruled out.
See, there is then both teams winning is ruled out then, if you're 350 for 7.
Yeah, that's right.
Because this pitch doesn't look like it's going to crumble. And remember, there is dodgy weather predicted on Saturday and Sunday also. Which is not, it won't wash out a day.
But yeah, you will have some kind of rain
irritants. There'll be irritating drizzles which may perhaps shave off 1 hour of a session. That could happen. The chances of rain aren't that high in Birmingham. It's 25%.
That was the case in Leeds also, that even about 15-20% of chances of rain was
there. But 15-20%, 1 hour went. And that's why it went to the final session, last 1 hour of fifth day.
Yeah.
Here, you are now battling time. Because England have scored at such a rate, the chances of an India win have also increased. And in England, loss has also increased. But 200, you said now 350. You are thinking they'll score only 101 runs in one session.
No, that would really happen if they lose wickets, I'm saying. Yeah.
Supposing.
If England don't lose wickets, then another 150 odd run session is coming, for sure.
See, 150 odd runs means in the session, they are not getting a follow-on. And anyway, we are not going to enforce the follow-on in those cases. Because I don't see this attack taking 20 wickets very, very rapidly. But AajTak and Siraj, they need to have a prolonged spell. Only they are capable of getting wickets. It could happen that only 2 bowlers take 20 wickets.
You just bowled 3 bowlers today. You bowled AajTak, Siraj and Jadeja. Prasidh has bowled...
Washington bowled.
Yeah, Washington,
but he's not looked threatening.
Washington had bowled already. He hadn't bowled at all yesterday, right? Yeah.
No, both the spinners didn't bowl yesterday at all.
Jadeja did bowl.
Jadeja bowled a few overs.
2 overs. He bowled 2 overs. Yeah, but then today Washington bowled not effective. Prasidh not effective. Nitish, he's bowled only 1 over. And if you're going to get him only 3-4 overs in the entire test match and if he doesn't do well with the bat, then what do you do then? You've got the same Shardul conundrum. Shardul at least got you 2 wickets in that Leeds test. Didn't do well with the bat, but what are you going to do with them? But then talking about the England batting, do you think they can sustain it or do you think a wicket is coming in the session then? And what about Harry Brook? I think he's shown...
No, if they sustain it, then I think then suddenly the advantage that India would have had, that would have disappeared.
But then do you think Harry Brook has shown far more maturity than what he did at Leeds?
Absolutely, and that's what I think leadership does to you. He is now the captain of England's ODI and T20I setups, and with some kind of leadership, maturity comes. Something that we saw in the first match also, although he was a little lucky, with those multiple drop chances, but he did manage to get a useful score. This time around, he is playing with that kind of maturity. Earlier, yesterday, I thought that with the kind of stepping out that he was doing to Mohammed Siraj, I thought that, England are really worried here. They just want to try to put the pressure on Siraj and maybe another wicket or 2 would just come before stumps. But I think what we have seen today, is some intelligent cricket. And the only thing that still I feel is not in England's favour is that if they lose 2 more wickets, then I think they would concede a healthy lead to India. But if this partnership goes on for another session, which means I'm talking about effectively another 150 to 160 odd runs, I think then India would be under pressure.
Despite, even if you look at it, if England, suppose, whole session they are bowled out, but then they score about 180 runs. Then do you think 150, 180 in the scores
India
of
will have a lead of 150, 160.
But then isn't that still healthy?
Yeah,
that is still healthy. But then with some weather around on Saturday and Sunday, you would want to score, as crisply as you can, and you were able to concede a target of 371 odd in the previous match. And what do you do this time around? You would need at least 100 more runs than that, which means that if
basically
India
don't have time then.
Yeah, if India, let's say, have a first innings lead of about 160, 170 odd, you would still need to score at least 300 more, approximately 300 more. And for that, you need, I think, a minimum of maybe 50 to 60 odd overs, or even more for that matter.
With the way India scores 70, 80?
Yeah, about 60 to 80 odd overs. So that's the thing.
So we are at a very interesting stage because of this onslaught from Brook and Smith, that you now have 338 runs, but another 150, 160 runs could basically still make it about 55-45 in India's favor, rather than now being 70-30 at this point in time.
And even I still feel, I think it's still 80-20 in favor of India, because England still trail by more than 330 odd. With just 5 wickets in hand, and despite a good 170 odd run session, I think it's still India who are in advantageous position.
Yeah, but then only 2 bowlers. That's the problem.
Only heard that before. BGT, just a few months back.
And that's why, see, you might very well win this match also, but then that might give you a fall. Okay, Bumrah comes back for Lords. Then I think Prasidh's out. Akashdeep, Siraj, Bumrah. And get a Sundar out, get a Kuldeep in. Forget about your batting. You need now you're 1-1, you need to win the series. You need to, that's the only way you can look at it. Otherwise, you can't win the series then that way. So, that is how we are looking at this current situation. But Smith and Brooks combination is going to be really, really, really important in that sense.
Yeah. Let's take a couple of comments here.
Yeah, from Dr. Akash Bharadwaj. By the way, 27 to 37 overs, England got 72, out of which Prasidh alone gave away 50. Ooh. Pathetic bowling. He's the sole reason for Smith getting set. Literally released all the pressure built. He's getting worse and worse. True that. I think that is a big problem that Akash Bharadwaj has pointed out with Prasidh. Because if he doesn't do well in this test match, I think he'll get the axe. He has to get the axe, because Bumrah will come in, persist with Akashdeep, persist with Siraj, and get a Kuldeep, hopefully for Lords, hopefully, but we don't know.
That hope is something that I have seemed to lost now, but let's move on. Shubham Garg has a comment. Jamie Smith has not played much first-class cricket, with reference to what Shashwat said. He's played 65 odd games before debut, so he has 4 to 5 county seasons behind him. What Shashwat actually meant here was that, at the age of 25, he's still pretty young as far as international cricket is concerned.
Near the bread ball setup. The very big reason for that is the kind of strike rate that he gets on the table, why he was gotten into the red ball setup of the England team.
Correct. That's the thing that he's coming with. So obviously he does have, with all the county matches that you have for playing about 4 to 5 odd seasons, there are plenty games that you can take part in, and that's where you gain all that experience.
And he's played a lot of England Lions cricket also. So that also does count.
Absolutely.
Correct. Dr. Akash Bharadwaj, test can never be won if your third pacer decides to go above 6 runs an over. Prasidh got wickets in leads because batters made mistakes. What about the wickets here? How many would you point out to batter error and wickets would be down to good bowling?
See, bowling, I'll be very honest, batting has been very ordinary from the English side. It's just that as soon as the ball, even little bit it has moved around, they've given their wickets. And I think that has been a problem with England all throughout. I think they're playing way... I've seen this with them even in one-day cricket. As soon as there's a spinner, if it's a right arm, left arm, leg spinner, off spinner, they start to crumble. Suddenly that's that mental switch when they do not know how to tackle conditions. All they can do is that as soon as conditions are absolutely completely flat like a road in Pakistan, that is when that they absolutely decimate the oppositions. Otherwise, the conditions, if there's even a little bit in the conditions, they start to crumble.
Yeah, I mean, see, when Pakistan switched to spinning conditions, you saw how Root, Brook and all were negated. You look at those seaming conditions in Australia in 2021. Look how the England batters were negated.
Those two spinners who came in for Pakistan. No?
Nouman Ali and
Sajid Khan.
Yeah.
Nouman Ali in particular, they took
40 wickets.
40 wickets in those two tests that they bowled in. I don't know under how much of the combination it was. I think Nouman, got about...
somebody at 27 and somebody
There was only one wicket that was taken by a seamer. I cannot remember the name, but only one.
So that is the thing.
by
So
a
see,
bowler.
England have prepared pitches because of that. But in the long run, these guys are just going to self-destruct wherever they go. They can't have success in Asia. They can't have success in Australia. They'll find success hard in South Africa as well and New Zealand. Although I don't know how they managed to whitewash New Zealand this time when they came. So I don't know how that happened. When they toured New Zealand, I think they beat them 3-0 in that WTC.
After the Pakistan tour.
After the Pakistan tour. So that's why it's not going to be easy. I mean, India's still in the ascendancy. 70-30 I have given. But another 150 runs and only 1-2 wickets fall. Then I think all the advantage will... And we know that the England tail can hang around. So...
Let's take a few more comments before we
few
wrap
more
things up.
comments, please. Beat You is saying, would it be fair to compare an opener's performance of middle order batters on the surface and that too they bat with the old ball? But
old ball is even more difficult because this lot of the Dukes is getting softer later on. So I know it gets easier also because the ball is not doing anything, but it gets equally difficult because then, to time the ball, it doesn't travel that quicker as soon as the ball gets soft. So all of those things, it just evens out in that sense.
I think sometimes in England conditions, whatever we speak a lot about the hundreds or the good 87 odd that Jaiswal scored, I think in the first innings here. Sometimes we tend to forget the kind of good cricket or the consistent cricket that someone like a Karun Nair played in the first innings here. Even as 31 was pretty crucial because that there were some swinging conditions around and that's where he had to hold one end. Let's go back to 2014 also on a pretty green track. Why Ajinkya Rahane's 100 was possible at that time? Because Cheteshwar Pujara had played out that phase.
Correct.
In the Lord's Test. So these are the things that are really crucial in England Test matches. So even a 30 or a good 40 odd is more than a useful contribution.
Yep.
Sarat Chandra has a comment that he's never seen any critics, trolls of these types of pitches. But if it spins a little or rank turners, they rage like anything that they always do.
I think nowadays all of that is stopped now. Nobody really criticizes any
now
kind of condition.
does not.
Now everybody knows everybody is doing something or the other.
See, Sarat Chandra, I mean, it all depends on the result. If one team struggles and the other doesn't, then it does feel like sour grapes.
That game in South Africa finished in 1.5 days. India did not say anything.
You won that game. But then but the Newlands pitch was criticized. Unanimously, the Newlands pitch was criticized for that 1.5 day finish. The Ahmedabad pitch, when the pink ball test happened between India and England, that got criticized because no team managed. Imagine that pitch was giving Joe Root 5 wickets. Then that pitch deserves the criticism that it gets. I mean, no disrespect to Joe Root, great batter, great player, great ambassador of the game, but he's not a full-time bowler.
Off spinner.
He's an off spinner. See, rank turners, if one team struggles, my basic thing about this entire thing, why can't you rage against this particular thing? But if India win, will the criticism of the pitch be there? No. If India lose and if any other team loses, then there is criticism of the pitch.
I think it's England's choice. They have been preparing these flat and fast wickets for a long time now.
But honestly, looking at it, the day they did this, they are snowballing down the slope into their doom.
And that's what I feel that, come the Ashes, it's going to be a very tough test for England.
It's a warm-up, na. They think Australia is of the 2010s where you get flat wickets, but everybody tends to forget that Australian bowlers bowl well even on flat decks. They have a Cummins, they have a Stark, they have a Hazelwood.
Boland, Lance Morris.
But let me tell you, Boland is a condition bowler. He isn't an all conditions bowler.
We all know what Boland did the last time England toured Australia.
Yes, but then look at the conditions there.
Almost built a statue for him.
Yeah, but look at the conditions there. It was green and hard. And that's why this is the thing. Let's go down before we take 1-2 comments more when the second session begins. Anshu Mishra, sir, you are the chat GPT of cricket. Oh, is it? Thank you so much. Please correct me. Is batsman named Steve Smith has more hundreds in Test cricket as Steve Smith has 36, Graham Smith has 27, and Jamie Smith has 2. Means 65 century. Yeah, named Smith has most Test hundreds in Test history, but there is only one name who's got combined 100. That is Sachin Ramesh. But if you have to look at Smiths, 36 Graham Smith, 36 Steve Smith, 27 Graham Smith, Jamie Smith.
There's also a Devon Smith for West Indies, he was.
Devon Smith.
Graham Smith is done.
There was Robin Smith for England.
Yeah, absolutely. New Zealand, I don't think so. There was any...
Ian Smith.
But yeah.
But he only had about 1 or 2 hundreds if I'm not mistaken.
But yeah, the name Smiths might have...
Smiths, yeah, I think they might... Hundreds. We'll have to check the surname Smith. I think you may be right that they have 65 centuries. And I think if I have to combine all the others, there was also so many other... Chuck Fleetwood Smith was there in the 1800s, in the 1900s and all of that. So... Rob Smith could be there also. So yeah, fun fact at Ashish Chandelier saying, fun fact at one stage, both these batters played every ball for 15 overs straight. That means they defended, scored of 90 straight deliveries. Oof. And Priyansh Dev Pratap Singh, these are rubbish stat padding wickets killing the competition between bat and ball. Now, you analysts should always see records in 2 ways, pre-baseball and past-baseball. Are you guys enjoying this?
Then we'll have to see in India also pre-ranked earners, post-ranked earners. So everybody
that's difficult, yaar. See, Dev Pratap Singh Chauhan, I personally am not enjoying England. I'm not enjoying the series.
It does not feel like the England that we know.
I grew up for 20-25 years watching England with those overcast conditions, green wickets, seam, swing, bounce. But now it's no longer there, and that is why I'm not enjoying any series in England after 2022. I'm sorry, it's been very woeful. Ashes kind of built that kind of an excitement, but then you saw there wasn't any helpful wicket. I think Edgbaston was one helpful wicket, very surprisingly. But then they lost there also. So,
last comment before we wrap things up. Ashish Thar, Test cricket is getting mad day by day. How can you leak 170 odd runs in an innings?
In a session,
even 600 looks unsafe. Yeah, that it does.
Oh, this is fast-paced Test cricket. But then see, this is nothing new. Ashish Thar, if you have to look at it, the most runs scored by a batter in one day was 304. And that was not in the modern era. It was done by Don Bradman. That record has still not been broken. What do you explain that to? In that era, Australia chased down 404. Test cricket was maddening then, is maddening even now. So that is why there is every cycle, every era in which the cycle repeats. So that is why, India, didn't West Indies chase down 418 in Antigua?
Yeah. Australia.
Yeah. So that is why it is like this only, Ashish Dhar. No record of Bradman has still been broken because he was an absolute freak. Look at it. One question was there. Can Shubman Gill break the record of 974 runs in a series? Currently,
if you continue to get these kind of wickets, then 100% he can break. 100%.
I think it was Austin Kun. I said he can break Gavaskar's tally of 774.
That is definitely happening.
Get too close to it, right?
Jaiswal 712 runs he got in that. But then I am mentioning 974 will be tough.
He's already past 400.
Yeah.
I'm sure
he's got a total of 423 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
269, 147, 424. 8 runs he got in the second innings in Leeds. So, yep, I think he can. Pass Gavaskar, but I don't think Bradman.
On these kind of wickets, definitely he can.
See, Bradman 974, 300 in a single day, winning from 2-0 down, the only captain in history to have done it. Yeah. I think these 3 records might not be broken, ever. So, the second session is going to, what do you think, guys? Are England folding up in this session, or do you think... okay, 3 options. Option A, England folding up for this session. Option B, England get the deficit to under 200. Then if that is not the case, option C, India enforce follow on.
I think England are getting all out. I think it's going to be 350 odd, and England are 350 odd for 9 at tea.
Okay.
I think they're folding up.
All out. Okay.
Yeah.
Looking at the way how they are scoring, and if it continues, 370 for 8. Looking at the way how things are, if you go by this breakneck pace, it's not sustainable. Why do they do it? 370 for 8, and they're getting bundled out in the next session after this. So let's see, can Brook get to his first century against India? Can Smith continue the carnage? Let's see. I might very well be wrong. They might be all out for even 300 also. We don't know.
Possible, yeah.
Possible. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this update. We'll be back with either the innings break or the tea break, whichever comes earlier. So bye-bye, folks. See you soon for any of the two scenarios. From me, Sid Gulati and Shashwat, do check out all the videos that we have done. Subscribe, like and share on Sports Today.